Welcome Thundercat fans to a brand new series called Storytime, where I take an in-depth look at some of our favorite vintage storybooks and comics. In this first chapter, I will be looking at the 1980s Star Comics Thundercats. Star Comics was a Marvel comic import that ran from 1984 until early 1988 and mostly published comic books that were based off of popular 1980s cartoons and movies, such as Care Bears, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Silverhawks, Strawberry Shortcake, and of course, Thundercats. There was a total of 24 issues of the original Thundercats comic that ran from 1985 through the end of Star Comics in 1988. The first 8 issues of the comic were released bi-monthly before they switched to a monthly publication for the remaining 16 volumes. The Star Comic Thundercats were also the first printing of the Thundercats in a comic series. Later on, Marvel UK Comics began their own run of Thundercat comics in 1987. I will be reviewing those comics in a later video. The Star Comic Thundercat volumes included both stories from the cartoon and original stories. Some examples of stories from the cartoon are the volumes about Safari Joe, Poomra, and Dr. Dome Tome. While there are a few minor differences in what happens, the story is basically the same. And let's never forget that Dr. Dome Tome made both Lion-O and Wily Cat dress in a shark suit. The original stories was an interesting addition to the world of the Thundercats and often included new characters like Lixana the Hunter, who was a central character for 3 volumes. In another original story, we meet Horak the Axe Wielder, a berserker who looks an awful lot like the toy version and the second cartoon design of Cruncher. Overall, these are a great addition to any Thundercat collection. I've had my comics since I was a kid, and I still enjoy reading them. The artwork and character designs of the Thundercats is different enough to be interesting, but similar enough to remind us of why we love the original cartoon so much. The comics are a little bit more violent, with some volumes showing wounds from battle and blood, but not overly so that you feel you're reading a different version of the Thundercats. I would definitely recommend this to anyone who is interested in picking these up and giving them a try. You can usually find a vintage Thundercat comic or two at your local comic book store. However, some volumes are a little harder to find, so you will have to go to online sources like eBay. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to hit that like button and subscribe so you can check out all my other reviews. In the next chapter of Storytime, I will be taking a look at the Marvel UK Thundercat comics. Until then, this has been Third Earth Reviews.